From Fox News, Vinman says Musk should be nervous after Telegram CEO was arrested. Free speech absolutist weirdos. So here's the big story. The Telegram CEO, Pavel Durov, is being accused of not taking sufficient action to limit criminal activity on the messaging app. He got arrested for this. Now, there's some interesting questions. Really, I do mean it. Interesting questions about what it means to operate a large platform and to allow criminal activity on those platforms. Let me first, before we get into it, propose one question to you. If someone owned a club and there were criminal gangs trafficking children in that club, and he said, hey, look, man, it's a private rental space. I don't know what anybody's doing in these rooms. It's none of my business. Would we tolerate that? The answer is absolutely not. I don't know that we would arrest the owner of the business who has no idea what's going on, though, right? You'd go in and arrest the criminals. I suppose the question here is they demand that he provide them access to be able to go in and do these investigations. But there's interesting questions about this. I think the action taken against this guy is completely wrong, and it's terrifying. I believe he's Russian and French, and France arrested him when he was landing his plane in France. And they're accusing him of, it's basically that. He wasn't doing enough to limit criminal activity. CNN, let's start here. You know, we love CNN. Detention of Telegram founder sparks debate about free speech and criminal activity online. Now, to the first story I pulled up, Vinman, these two brothers, deeply involved deep state actors who orchestrated, or I should say were large components in, is probably a better way to put it, the Trump fake impeachment, where they accused Trump of doing what they did, what Democrats did, the deep state. Now that this guy's been detained, arrested, Vinman is saying Elon Musk should be nervous. Should be nervous. Here's what CNN says. The detention of the Russian-born billionaire, founder of Telegram, a messaging app known for its unfiltered content, has sparked debate about freedom of speech and illegal content on the internet. Pavel Durov, 39, was detained at Paris's Bourget airport Saturday on a warrant related to Telegram's lack of moderation, which has led to money laundering, drug trafficking, and the spread of pedophilic content on the platform, according to CNN affiliate BFM TV. Durov was traveling to Paris from Azerbaijan aboard his private jet, the network reported. Telegram, which boasts about 900 million users, is a crucial communication tool in many countries, used for everything from day-to-day chatting to disseminating government messages. On Sunday, the Russian embassy in Paris confirmed Durov's detention and said it was in contact with the entrepreneur's attorney. The French prosecutor's office has not responded to CNN's request for comment. Durov's attention raises questions about whether tech bosses should be responsible for the content on their platforms. A prospect Telegram called absurd in a statement issued Sunday defending its CEO. Encrypted communications apps like Telegram are free speech to some and an on-ramp to the dark web to others, said Duncan Clark, chairman of BDA and a technology expert. The app is known for its high-level encryption and limited oversight on what its users post, which makes it highly susceptible to disinformation, conspiracy theories, hate, and other harmful content. So what? Disinformation, conspiracy theories, hate, and harmful content? Define harmful content. The rest are all free speech. Now, harmful, if you're talking about criminal activities and trafficking, we agree there. That's a problem. And that's why I don't think this one's so cut and dry. I do not believe in absolute free speech. Now, some might argue, no. I believe in absolute free speech. That doesn't include, no, hold on. Free speech, absolutism means as long as you're not engaging in the action yourself, you're allowed to say whatever you want. Share whatever you want. I don't agree with that. That's absolute. Understand what absolute means. I think most people can agree that there are limited circumstances where we do censor. I am a big fan of censorship. I am the biggest fan of censorship. Let me tell you. So we had this woman on the show, Culture War, and I said, we shouldn't have these books in schools that depict adult activities. And she goes, so your first censorship? And I went, yes, 100%. Are you kidding? Yeah, censorship doesn't mean political opinions. Censorship means someone chooses these things, for whatever reason, should not be allowed in certain areas. Now, the question is degree of censorship. We are all for policing. Not everybody, but in general. We all agree there should be some kind of police, right? That doesn't mean we think police should be able to raid your home whenever they want. Imagine if Cops were just going door to door, kicking people's doors in and stealing stuff. And that was general policing. We wouldn't agree with that. We would say this policing has gone too far. We agree there should be law enforcement, but that's just not it. Censorship on a social media platform where they take down abuse images of children, that is the right thing to do. Murder, snuff, and criminal activity, that should be censored. That means individuals have to watch and remove these things. Algorithms can only do so much. Not very good at it. To say that we just don't want any is wrong. That being said, it opens the door to questions about Telegram. Not that I think his arrest was right. Telegram's firm stance against censorship has made it especially prominent in countries where freedom of speech is curtailed, such as Russia, Iran, and India. The platform is also favored by white supremacists and terror groups, including ISIS. So shut up. White supremacists and ISIS use Facebook. That's true. Telegram is also very popular in Ukraine, where it has become a vital tool for sharing news about the war and warning about air raids. In its Sunday statement, Telegram said Durov had nothing to hide, and it was absurd to claim that a platform or its owner are responsible for abuse of that platform. Telegram abides by EU laws, including the Digital Services Act. Its moderation is within industry standards and constantly improving. It added in its statement posted on X, formerly known as Twitter. The detention is a sign that France is cracking down on the lack of moderation on platforms like Telegram, Clark said. European Union regulators have ramped up scrutiny of tech giants and invoked a flurry of new laws designed to rein them in. This year, concerns about foreign disinformation and meddling in European elections prompted EU officials to investigate Meta and set up special agencies focused on combating disinformation, particularly from Russian trolls. So now we're seeing they actually do have standard moderation. This is one big lie. Telegram is massively popular even in the United States. Many people use it because a lot of these other platforms had banned them. So they found ways to share information the government did not like. Many of these people sharing information aren't sharing anything criminal. It's dissent against government. However, this move, it's because he probably wouldn't provide them a backdoor to spy on people based on politics. I believe that's the real answer. Which brings us to Vinman. Alexander Vinman. Yaroslav Azniuk says, Pavel Durov got arrested. Here's what this means for the U.S., EU, Ukraine, and Russia from the perspective of a Ukrainian tech entrepreneur who's been covering Telegram's Kremlin connections. He goes on to post a thread. We'll get there in a second. Vinman, who was famous for testifying in the Trump impeachment, false impeachment trial, says, while Durov holds French citizenship, is arrested for violating French law, this has broader implications for other social media, including Twitter. There's a growing intolerance for platforming disinfo and malign influence, and a growing appetite for accountability. Musk should be nervous. He's correct. I wouldn't say Musk should be nervous. I should say Musk should be excited. There is a whole new world standing before us. And that means you, Vinman, when you write this, that includes you. You are malign influence. So should Trump win and Elon Musk win, it's actually you who should be nervous. Indeed. I tweeted that. Now, Yaroslav goes on to say, I was following Durov's story the last 17 years, more or less, since the early days of VK. VK is basically like Russian Facebook. What we're seeing now is a sharply negative reaction from the right-wing X users, starting with Elon, Tucker, JoinMyKim.com, Cobra Tate, and others, demanding to free Pavel and stop censoring free speech. However, they fail to mention the allegations against Pavel are serious. He never complied with the content moderation rules, allowing arms trafficking, illegal drugs, human trafficking, and worse to flourish on the platform, using UAE jurisdiction as a safe haven. As TF1 reports, French authorities are checking for possible connections to the Kremlin. And also, Pavel Durov is a French citizen and is not subject to exchange or extradition. And on this topic, we have a collection of selected investigative pieces from KremlinGram.org and a nonprofit studying Telegram's security and its potential ties to the Kremlin. I'm going to pause and just say, none of this matters. Of course they're going to accuse him of these things. Of course they're going to claim he was allowing these crimes. It's the only move they have to make. I don't believe them. I don't trust them. So Elon Musk, huh? He should be nervous. Let's start from the beginning, my friend. Let's start from the beginning. Trump whistleblower Eugene Vinman accused of violating federal election law in Virginia congressional race. The public is all too familiar with politicians not acting honorably. We hope the FEC takes these apparent violations by Mr. Vinman seriously. This is Eugene, Alex's brother. They say, The Functional Government Initiative filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission on Wednesday urging an investigation into Vinman and his political action committee, Vote Vets. The complaint alleged that Vote Vets, a hybrid PAC, made an excessive and impermissible contribution to Vinman's campaign. According to the Washington Free Beacon, Vote Vets is legally permitted to contribute up to $10,000 directly to a candidate. However, it reached this limit in May. The PAC's continued communication support for Vinman's campaign is being classified as an in-kind contribution. Now, this is ancillary, but the Vinman brothers are both responsible for the Donald Trump impeachment. These are corrupt actors. They are deep state actors. They seek to subvert and overthrow these United States. You think I'm kidding or being cute? I'm not. Donald Trump was the president. Donald Trump was the president. And these guys created a circumstance by which Trump was falsely impeached. Eugene Vinman is the Trump whistleblower. Here's the Wikipedia. They say that he came to national attention when his twin brother, Alex Vinman, testified before the U.S. Congress regarding the Trump-Ukraine scandal. Eugene received the report of Trump's phone call from Alex and reported the call to senior White House lawyers. Alex's testimony provided evidence that resulted in a charge of abuse of power in the impeachment of Trump. These two brothers, together, ultimately triggered the Donald Trump false impeachment. Let me give you the gist of that false impeachment. Donald Trump had a phone call with Ukraine. I believe it was Poroshenko. And he said, what's going on with this? No, it might not have been Poroshenko at the time. I can't remember. Who was the president when Biden was there? I thought it was Poroshenko. So Trump says, what's this video I'm seeing? There's a video going around where Joe Biden says, if you don't fire the prosecutor, you're not getting the $1 billion. And they said they were going to look into it. Trump wanted that looked into. Why was Joe Biden threatening to withhold congressionally approved loan guarantees to Ukraine over some prosecutor? He didn't have the authority to do that. He doesn't. They did fire the guy, Viktor Shokin. Viktor Shokin was state prosecutor. He was investigating Mykola Zlochevsky. Zlochevsky was under investigation and fled the country. Biden says, and then we got in someone who was solid. That's weird. They were all about, Matt Taibbi is reporting, I think it was about a dozen investigations into this guy. Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma, reached out to the State Department for help. A few days later, I believe it was a few days later, Joe Biden flies out, says, fire the prosecutor or else. You know, the authority, that's a quid pro quo. That's illegal. Nobody cared. Joe Biden bragged about it. Trump said, what was that about? For this, they accused Trump of a quid pro quo because they're criminals. They broke the law and they got caught. And Trump was trying to have them held criminally accountable. But he needed the evidence, as is Trump's duty. For this, they impeached him because they're evil. They're criminals. Criminals have been running the U.S. government for a very, very long time. And we got lucky that Trump got in. Far from perfect guy, but not a criminal. Oh, I'm sorry. They'll lie to you. And they'll say he's a convicted felon. If you're low IQ or a liar, you'd believe that. It's not true. The charging documents for Donald Trump in New York say, quote unquote, another crime. There's no crime listed. They just put another crime. What was that? So they say Trump's a felon because of, quote unquote, another crime that was never adjudicated. You can't just say that. I can just say that too then, right? Oh, in the court of me, Joe Biden's a convicted felon. Oh, I just made it up. That's ridiculous. There's no actual codified law that Trump broke. Oh, I mean, they want to argue it was falsifying business records, right? That's a misdemeanor. Trump wasn't charged with that. Trump was charged with falsifying business records in furtherance of another crime. What other crime? There isn't one. Therefore, Trump was not actually charged with anything. It's fake. But these guys are all in on it. They're evil. And now they're threatening Elon Musk. Absolute weirdos. While experts in the industry leaders sounded the alarm about the international free speech implications of his arrest, Vinman championed the move, suggesting Elon Musk could be next. Rumble CEO says he safely left Europe after France arrests Telegram CEO over failure to moderate content. Oh, boy. Yeah, Chris Pavlovsky, I would stay out of Europe for the time being. I think there's a strong possibility they will lock you up, too. Rumble CEO Chris Pavlovsky has announced that he has safely departed from Europe following the arrest of Telegram CEO Pavel Durov in France and subsequent threats made against Rumble by French authorities. In a statement, we'll pull up his tweet. He says, "I'm a little late to this, but for good reason. I've just safely departed from Europe. France has threatened Rumble, and now they have crossed a red line by arresting Telegram CEO Pavel Durov, reportedly for not censoring speech. Rumble will not stand for this behavior and will use every legal means available to fight for freedom of expression, a universal human right. We are currently fighting in the courts of France, and we hope for Pavel Durov's immediate release." Now that's something else, isn't it? Here we go. From Just the News. New Twitter files raise question of how independent pre-Musk company was from the Biden administration. RFK Jr. pointed this out. You know, he said that a judge ruled, I think something to the effect of one of the most egregious violations of the First Amendment, the Biden administration's actions to censor RFK and to collude with these big tech companies. The latest batch of Twitter files reported by former Senate Finance Committee investigator Paul Thacker from records turned over by Elon Musk, X, show a curious timeline in the first couple months of President Joe Biden's term. Within 2 weeks of the inauguration, the company covertly hired a global strategic advisory and commercial diplomacy services firm, co-founded and chaired by former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, to seek states' help in dealing with censorship pressure from India. On the 2-month anniversary of the Biden administration, Politico reported on a new blob that had formed from alumni from the firm, Albright Stonebridge. At least 10 had taken top foreign policy jobs, including UN ambassador, deputy secretary of state, 2 undersecretaries of state, and the deputy national assistant security advisor to Vice President Kamala Harris. Another became chief of staff to the now Democratic nominee for president's husband, First Gentleman Doug Emhoff. Very interesting. Paul Thacker says Politico reported around the same time that 10 of Biden's top foreign policy crowd came from Albright Stonebridge, the blob. The new tranche of internal emails calls into sharp question claims by Democrats, including House Weaponization of Federal Government Subcommittee ranking member Delegate Stacey Plaskett, quote, and their allies in the media that Twitter did not collude with federal agencies and was free from Biden administration pressure to make its own censorship decisions. India's censoring of social media drove Twitter right into the arms of a lobby shop of foreign policy experts staffing the Biden administration, he said. How can a company be reliant on government advice and help make decisions independent of that same government? They can't. That's the point. The Biden administration was deeply entrenched. It was kind of crazy to see that the Twitter files Elon Musk released. Oh, boy. Vijaya Gadde, a top lawyer who I actually had the conversation with on Rogan's podcast, cried when Elon Musk took over X. They knew what this meant. They couldn't stop him. The charade was up. They didn't expect anybody of the legal or financial means to make this move. They tried to stop him. Many people thought it wasn't going to happen. They tried to sour the deal and spike Twitter's value at the time. Elon Musk ended up buying it. And then, what do we find out? Vijaya was having regular meetings. It was reported. She was having meetings weekly, or was it monthly? But regular meetings with government agencies. Feds had backdoor access to not just X, Twitter at the time, but Facebook. Remarkable. And do you think that hasn't stopped? Do you think that they've ceased this? Now on X, perhaps. Maybe. I guarantee YouTube allows it. I guarantee YouTube allows the deep state to walk right in and do whatever they want. That's why when you would mention a certain CIA agent's name on YouTube, they would delete your video. That's remarkable. And Facebook would too, without warning or notification. I made some funny posts where I said a particular individual. I used the name and said so-and-so, and I got to be careful. You say the name, they might remove it. Although his name has been said several times since then. Voldemort, we'll call him. I said, this guy, his name, is a 50-year-old dentist from Dubuque, Iowa, who has 3 kids and lives a quiet life. That's it. Post was deleted. Without warning, without notification, without telling me I broke any rules. Just gone. That's weird. I wasn't talking about no CIA agent. I was talking about dentist from Dubuque. Nope, you could not say the name at all. Any mention of the name was purged from the internet. I made a YouTube video Gone. The funny thing is, the video still appeared like normal on my end. So I get a message from someone saying, why'd you pull down your story on Real Clear Investigations, the CIA whistleblower? And I said, well, I didn't. They say it's been removed. I went and looked on YouTube. Still there. Still there. Remarkable. They must have gone in the back end and removed it. Andre Tukulescu in the chat wants me to say the name. Should I? They could take the whole show down and delete it from existence. Why don't you guys just Google search it? You'll find the story on Real Clear Investigations. I'm sure it pops up now. Let's see if we can pull it up. I'm typing it in. I'm not gonna play it. Yeah. Pops right up. Tons of news stories. He can't escape it now. Wow. Yeah, his name's all over the news now. But it's silly when people tell me to intentionally get the show banned. Why would I do that? I can tell you about the problem right now, and with but 10 seconds, you can search this and find it out. Why risk removing that availability to hundreds of thousands of people? To make some kind of point that no one will hear? This is the challenge with censorship, my friends. And it's not Seth Rich. The challenge with censorship is that there are people who want you to stand up and scream and just get removed. But that's not strategic. That's not winning control of a battlefield. You have to recognize that maybe you have the greatest cavalry in all the land. And you're like, we should utilize this force. And then they're like, yeah, but they've set up traps that specifically will stop the cavalry, so we can't use them. No, use them anyway. Let everyone see. Why? You'll just lose. That's the unfortunate reality. There are a lot of people who are very proud. And they think that you should just sacrifice everything, no one will hear it, and then cease to exist. I don't think that quite makes sense, does it? No. So, you guys can say whatever you want. But I don't know. I don't know. The censorship is real. Elon Musk may travel to Europe. And if he does, they may try to arrest him. No joke. Because he's been defying these countries and these governments. Axe had to flee Brazil. Yeah. So we'll see. Andre says, you can say the name now. They removed the trigger. Don't know if that's true. The guy's name's all over the news. Maybe. But what's the point? Honestly, give me the mathematical equation. Give me the mathematical equation. Take a risk at having this show pulled, and no one will ever hear that this happened. No one will know. And then someone one day walk up to them and say, did you know that Facebook did this? That's not true. I never heard that. You made that up. Just to make a point? Why? I don't understand. It's about tact and strategy. To win, you have to recognize where your strengths and weaknesses lie and what your attack vectors are. It would be like punching a guy in the shield. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, if two great warriors on the battlefield and the one guy's intentionally aiming for the shield, why would you do that? You try to win. Got to win. I'm going to wrap it up there, though, my friends. Next segment will be coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. If you like it, share this video everywhere. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all at 4.